who cares? Why does this Trinity thing matter? Well, because it solves the one and the many problem philosophically. And then it says, okay, well, now you have a model for how love can work. If things can be many but share an essence, then you have the I and the you, and you have the medium through which the love part can make sense. So I love you, you have all the ingredients there.
Can you connect that? I really appreciate this in your book, to the idea of the one and the many, and how Christianity is neither.
This is it's gonna get a little philosophical. Are we okay with this?
Oh yeah, we love getting philosophical here. Bring it.
Okay. So for those who don't know, the problem of the one and the many is considered to be one of these sort of enduring problems in philosophy across the board. Every culture, every religion, every major place where there were thinking people trying to work these things out. And the problem is something like this. How is it that there are so many things, there's a multiplicity of things, while at the same time there does seem to be a fundamental unity to things too, but there's this kind of contradiction to them? Are things, because you could break it down at any level. You say, well, I'm clearly a person, I'm me, or this is a cup, this is a cup. But when we examine it, it's made of all these atoms and structures, and then when you examine those, they have even smaller structures to them, and the whole universe is like that. There's nations, and we know what a nation is, and there's all these people in it. There's a culture, but it's made up of individuals, and so there's this confusion about what how do you reconcile the fact that everything seems to be a multiplicity, but there is also sort of this unifying oneness to everything. And the Greeks thought of that as the cosmos, that there was this ordered whole to the universe. And so the part of the problem is if you go too far on one of these explanations, then things don't make any sense. So if you say, well, fundamental unity and wholeness and oneness, that's obviously the main thing. And that's what the universe is really about. Then you have to explain, okay, well, then how are there many different things? How do you explain the multiplicity if the unity?
Real quick, sorry to interrupt you. Can you give a couple examples, religious examples of what might a religion that might attribute itself to that idea?
Yeah, so Hinduism is a great example because it's a very old religion. It's an ancient religion that still exists and is still practiced and believed in modernity. It hasn't been secularized as a whole. So in Hinduism, the idea is there's millions of gods, and obviously there's billions of people, all this kind of stuff. There's plenty of multiplicity, but Hinduism asserts that fundamentally, at its core, everything is really one. It's all part of this divine oneness. There's this thing called Brahman, and we're all part of the one. And so the goal of religious action is to realize, to become enlightened, to realize that distinctions between you and me are illusions. There isn't really a me, there isn't really a you. We are all part of the one.
The
And the whole
Atman has to meld with the Brahman or whatever the
yeah,
Hinduism.
I'm rusty on distinctions between Atman and Brahman, but yes, like there's this fundamental oneness to everything. And different pagan Greek religions thought that the universe was like this too. Plotinus believed that the one was just the one, and then all of creation emanated out of it, like oatmeal boiling over a pot, dripping down. And when it gets to the bottom, it's all cold and hard and crusty when it drips down the side of the stove. And that cold, hard crustiness is Earth, where we are. Anyway, so on that worldview, the problem is you explain how everything has this fundamental unity in the one. The problem is it means that people don't exist. It means there aren't really distinctions between you and me or between you and a chair, because everything's part of the one. So we lose our individual distinctiveness. And then you say, okay, well, why don't we just say, well, everything is a radical individual? That's what a lot of modern secular worldviews assume, is that, okay, well, I'm definitely me and you're definitely you. We are not illusions. The distinctions between us are important because I'm me precisely because I'm not you, and I'm not this chair, and I'm not God. I'm me. And so you can embrace a kind of radical individualism, but then have the opposite problem, which is that you don't have any unity for anything. And the example I give in the book is love. So on a worldview of the one, where we're all actually this giant singular cosmic being, the phrase "I love you," because there's no I, there's no you, that just is like the universe hugging itself. This is the example G.K. Chesterton uses. There's no distinction. So the I and the you don't make any sense. But on a worldview of the many, where we're all radical individuals, there's no love part. All I can say is I'm having this emotional experience of you, and I hope you're having the same or similar emotional experience of me. But if you've been around the block, people don't always reciprocate feelings for each other. And so the problem is it's hard to understand what we truly share in our oneness that allows us to say something like, I love you. So Christianity, famously, although less well known today, solves this problem of the one and the many through the doctrine of the Trinity. So the Trinity is just like this complicated esoteric thing that people are like, I don't understand it. It's a mystery. Don't worry about it. There's all these bad answers to it. Excuse me. We all have this like post Christmas get together cough. Uh, the Trinity provides a cosmic model for how oneness and manyness not only can coexist, but that they reinforce each other. So God is three persons, so you have the multiplicity there, and he's one essence, and he's so much one essence that we can correctly call him one God. But obviously, there's three of the persons, and if you want, we can get into why that makes sense. But just for the who cares part, because I think that's what people really want to know. Who cares? Why does this Trinity thing matter? Well, because it solves the one and the many problem philosophically. And then it says, okay, well, now you have a model for how love can work. If things can be many but share an essence, then you have the I and the you, and you have the medium through which the love part can make sense. So I love you. You have all the ingredients there for that to make sense.
Excellent. Hold on, bringing you back here. You answered that faster than I was prepared for.
I felt like that went long.
Yeah. No, well, now I wanted to connect that with what we were talking about before with understanding versus participatory, because I thought
Mm,
that was really an interesting idea in that, okay, on one hand, with the one, there's no subject and object. So, like you said, I love you just turns into me hugging myself, versus the many turns into this idea of, well, we're just kind of these individual atoms bumping into each other, and whatever experience I have, hopefully it's this experience that you have, but who knows, right? There's no actual objective connection there, and this difficult idea to understand, like you said, the Trinity, as far as the argument that you made in the book, seems to understand, or seems to give understanding to solving that problem, right? So on one hand, there's this singular essence, and this essence, I'm totally going to say this wrong. Please correct me. Springs
it's
forth these three different aspects of itself, or himself, and through that we have both the unity and we have the many, to, I guess, be able to have both an object and or a subject and an object, right? A verb and a noun. And in order for us to really experience something like that, whether it's a connection with another person or a connection with God or the arche, which is what I want to ask you about next, is it's got to be participatory. Because you're over there. I read your book. I understand your book. You're over there, but in order for it to really be for us to really connect, we have to engage in some sort of action and do it. Like you said, I can't get nourished by reading about nutrition. I actually have to eat food, and when I eat the food, I actually don't need to know anything about nutrition. So, can you say something that or tell me something more about how the solution to the one and the many is really kind of what fills that gap between just understanding something isn't enough. You have to participate.
Hmm. Well, real quick, I'm contractually obligated to correct the heretical language, which
Thank you.
is that there are no
I'll
the
keep screwing up
Trinity
so you
is
can correct it.
yeah, it's it's not a problem.
Yeah.
The persons of the Trinity aren't aspects of the Trinity, and they don't spring forth either. So they are eternally present. The Son and the Spirit are eternally present with the Father from all time. Pardon me. And there aren't aspects. That's called modalism. So some people say, okay, well, the Trinity means that God has these different masks. He has the Son mask that he's when he's saving us. He has the Father mask when he's creating us. He has the Spirit mask when he's enlightening us, and he just kind
Hmm.
of changes his roles. And that's that's also heresy. It's We can get more into it if you want later, but I'll answer your main question. So what is this? What is the participatory thing going on here then? Well, it's something like it's actually connected to everything we've been talking about. So, like the idea that there's no view from nowhere. Why is there no view from nowhere? Because only persons have views. You are an embodied person. You have a view from where you are with the webcam, and from where I am. We have our own perspective because we are our own persons. So it starts with realizing that knowledge isn't something just like vacuum. It's a person. It's had by persons. And then truth itself is a person. This is part of the Christian radical revolution of all thought, is that when we talk about the truth, we're not just talking about like some abstract answer to a problem. What's 12 times 90? It's like there's an answer out there, and it's somewhere, and we have to find it. And that's the truth of that question. Well, Christ says, "I am the way, and I am the truth." I am the truth. He's not being hyperbolic. It's in the same way that when John says God is love. This isn't hyperbole. These are statements of being. So the truth is Christ. Christ is the logos. Logos where we get the word logic from. And so the underlying logic to the whole universe, the base code of the universe, if you will, is Christ's being. He sort of unfolds the logos, which is himself, to make the world. And that's why in the creed we say that Christ is the one by whom all things were made. So when the Father speaks the word, he's breathing, I don't know how you want to talk about it, creation into being through the logos, which is Christ. And so what does all this have to do with your question? You want to know the truth. Well, the truth is a person, and you are a person. So now you have to have a personal relationship with the truth. And that doesn't mean, this is important, that doesn't mean I have my own personal opinion about the truth. That's what a lot of people want to say in secular society. What that means is you have to have a personal relationship with truth himself. You have to get to know him. That's how you know truth. So you don't even have, there's so many illiterate saints. You don't have to read the Bible. Like, you should read the Bible. You want to read the Bible. But you don't have, there are illiterate saints who never read the Bible. Now, they went to church and they heard the gospel preached. This is good, and it's essential. But studying is not what gets you there. That's just something in your mind. In other words, that's treating truth as though it were an abstraction rather than realizing that truth is a person, and you need to have a personal relationship with him. So one of the fallouts of this is that is that vices and sins make you a worse knower of the truth, because they screw up your ability to have relationships. If you're an anxious person, if you're angry person, if you're a depressed person, if you're a jealous person, those things warp your ability to see the world as it is. And if you have a friend who's super jealous, let's say, it means you can't really be real with him, because anything good you say, he's gonna be all jealous of you, and you're like, well, now I can't really have as close a relationship with this person because he's got this jealousy problem. And all sin is like that. All of us are like this. So we need to actually get rid of our sins, work them down, confess them, grow stronger morally in order to understand any truth. Like somebody asked me one time, is becoming a saint going to make me a better physicist? And I said, yeah, probably, because you'll be able to see reality as it really is when you become more real and you get to know him who is he who is what we say in the liturgy, he who is reality itself. Right? So it totally turns everything on its head when you say that truth is a person.
Everyone, please like, comment, and subscribe to help us grow this channel. I think we cover a lot of good stuff. We're covering ideas that you're not hearing anywhere else. Economic ideas, historical ideas, systematic politics ideas you're not hearing anywhere else.